to the cloud. There we go. And I'm going to go live in our page, which we should start inviting people to, by the way.
Yes. I've been sharing.
Okay. Share to my group. Go live. We are live. Good morning,
Michelle.
Saint.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm feeling a little agitated this morning, actually. It's been an interesting day. You and I had talked earlier this week that we were going to chat about fears. And interesting for me, one of the fears that came up this week is the fear of the loss of love. And that's pretty scary when you think about it. And setting boundaries with people you love, can sometimes, actually, I was afraid to set boundaries for the longest time because I was afraid that if I set a boundary that was going to benefit me, I would lose the friendship, I would lose the relationship. And what I'm really understanding is if me setting a boundary causes that relationship to dissolve, what kind of relationship was it in the first place?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, because actually that's something that's been stirring for me as well.
Interesting.
It seems there's always a common theme, right? Every time we're like talking, and then even in a collective, in our 2% study group, right? The 2% club, it seems to always be like a common theme, and which is there's no such thing as coincidences, right? That's something that everybody has to go through. And so same thing for myself. I mean, that is something that has actually been very difficult for to do. To create boundaries because of it's amazing how you can be feeling great but also not so great at the same time.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because it's exactly what I feel. Like I feel great, but there's still some healing that needs to be done. And yes, it's just the creating the boundaries of loving yourself first, knowing that you're worthy, and knowing that if you do create those boundaries and something is dissolving because of it, is that it was not true love in the first place.
Right. And I know that I have true love for myself. So I am okay with that boundary, right? The thought of ruthless compassion was rolling around in my mind this morning as I was reaffirming this boundary. And it's so true. You have to have ruthless compassion for yourself.
Yes.
And
it's so important.
Yeah, exactly.
And even though that you know that you have to do it and it may hurt, it may still hurt because that's some grieving that you have to go through, right? It's still important to honor yourself. I'm getting some tears a little bit here because it's just being very vulnerable, right? But yes, it's just still know, even though it may still hurt, you have to know in your heart that that's the right thing to do in the long run, right?
Yeah,
because I'm sure you could feel that for yourself, that you gave yourself so much to the wrong people that it had hindered your worth and the way you perceived yourself in a loving manner, right? And when you start to choosing yourself, it will feel like that imposter syndrome, right? It's like, ooh, like, what am I doing here? I've never done this before, right? I've allowed other people, and that's the big thing, like we allow others to treat us this way because we are teaching others how to be treated. And once you start to like choosing yourself first, others will not like it, especially if it was convenient for them.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And it does feel awkward at first if you're not used to setting those boundaries, right? I was the proverbial doormat for most of my life, right? And when I put that not welcome sign up, ooh, that felt really awkward because I didn't allow myself to be stepped on anymore. And yeah, it's, you get yourself in that XY vibration. And when you feel like, this is how I knew I was doing the right thing, because I felt like, that's how I felt.
I know.
And I was like, okay, I know I'm doing the right thing because this feels outside of my comfort zone.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then the more you choose yourself, and that's not of like that's not something about to be selfish about, right? It's completely different. No. Because when you choose yourself, it's actually an act of love. And being selfish is completely different because it's complete out of sorts of like the way you want to see things. But when you choose yourself, you are in better position to actually be of service to others. When you're filling your cup first, right? This is something that you have to do because you cannot give what's not in you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I always like the idea of I fill my cup up and I serve from the overflow.
Yes.
I serve from the overflow. So I intentionally keep my cup full. My cup is always full most of the time. Right? So I fill it up. We do. We do. And we serve from the overflow, because that's when you're giving. You're not giving yourself, you're giving of yourself. You're serving from yourself.
Yes.
You're serving from the right place. If you're serving from the bottom of the cup, you're not serving anybody.
That's right.
You're not serving anybody when you're serving from the bottom of your cup. Well, I'll fill my cup up tomorrow after this. No, fill your cup up first, then take care of your spouse, your kids, your friends, your job, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that all goes of going back to that whole fear, right? Of like choosing love over fear, right? Like having that fear of like expressing yourself and saying no, or say hell yes, right? It could be a hell yes, right? But yeah, like choosing to choose love instead of fear is such a big thing. And yes, like being of service to others is also to come back to yourself first, right? So I love that because like fear will creep in so many different ways, right? In all of the different areas of life, which could be affecting us.
Yeah, and I love that. I love how you brought in love because love is the expression we are born to be in. Love is the expression we're supposed to be in. It is our birthright to be love, right? In everything, loving your body, this meat stick, right? This, what do you call it? I love that the term you use.
The encapsulated ego.
The encapsulated ego. We're supposed to love that.
Yeah.
Whatever shape you're in, love your body. It's keeping you here on this planet for the time being. Right?
Yep. So that we can fulfill a purpose, right? And because like everyone has some sort of fear, but the thing, if you let fear control you, you will be stuck and you will not be able to move forward, right? And like with all the different fears that's out there, I mean, we did talk about the fear of not being loved, fear of criticism, right? the fear of poverty, of like being in lack. And it's not so much of like being poor, but having that lack mentality, which I've been there up until yesterday, right?
Me
I
too.
think everybody at some point, you can be extremely rich and still have that mentality of lack, right? Just keeping.
You can be rich with money. Absolutely. You can be rich with money
Right.
and still have a lack mentality. Yes, absolutely.
Right. Because the whole point is just being in abundance is to kind of always let it flow, right? And so, yeah, when you go back to love, you can actually, oh, look at that there, Michelle. I got to mention it. It is 11:11. But
yes, of course.
You have to let it flow, right? Always ease and flow, and coming back to love. And I have this, I love this thing that I'm actually having this affirmation, and maybe somebody else needs to have that out there, but is I took that from Gabrielle Bernstein, the Universe Has Your Back, the book, and I just love it so much that I had to put it to my affirmation. Is I am ready and determined to learn true love. I am ready and determined to learn true love, because when you learn true love, things comes back so much easier.
Yeah. Forgiveness is easier. Again, loving yourself and forgiving yourself for not being aware of things you weren't aware of, right?
Yeah.
Loving yourself for having the courage to, like we said this morning, to set boundaries for yourself, loving yourself enough to know you are worthy. Yeah. I love that.
It's so, yes, it's so important, because that forgiveness, right? It's a lot easier to forgive others, but a lot of the times we don't forgive ourselves. And if we don't have that compassion toward ourselves, how can we have the compassion towards others?
You can't. You can't truly forgive somebody else if you haven't forgiven yourself first. You can't truly love somebody else unless you love yourself first. This is what I'm understanding. This is what I'm coming to understand. The love of self. And it doesn't make me a selfish person to want to put me first and my desires and my goals, my achievements. That is the way it's supposed to be. Because when I am loving myself and I am building myself up and I am doing the things that are right with a capital R for me, then I can give to others the way I'm supposed to, with purpose. Yeah.
There's so much that we can learn through, and as we go through life, more things will come up that we were not aware of, right? Because it's a journey, right? And I think everybody could use this kind of community and environment. And I would welcome, like, everyone, if you do have questions and you would love to be part of a community that is working towards awareness, is to reach out to one of us, and so that you can be part of our 2% club. And Michelle, are you doing something coming up for your community?
I have a I go live on Tuesdays, and I'm currently reading Price Pritchett's U Squared, and it's all about taking quantum leaps with your life. Working smarter, not harder. So that's what I have going on this week. How about you, Jacinthe?
Yes, so a weekly, also I do have Tap Into Your Soul, In Touch with Your Soul Thursdays. So I love to just pick intuitively a book and open up a page, and I just read a few paragraphs from there. It always seems to be in what is needed, just like with your Tuesday with your U Squared. There's always some really amazing things coming from there. very similar, but it's on Thursdays for myself. And also on Wednesday this week, I actually have a free masterclass, and it's called Mindful Gratitude, because we can always use some more mindfulness and to being grateful for everything that we have. So if that is something that you are interested in, feel free to reach out to me so that you can register for that free masterclass and all that.
I love that, Justine, and thank you so much for giving that offering, because when you are feeling a sense of lack, or you're feeling that fear, gratitude will always pull you out. And gratitude is an amazing attitude.
Yes, it goes hand in hand.
And I'm completely grateful for you, Jacinth, and for sharing your wisdom. I love you.
And same, Michelle. Thank you so much for sharing the beautiful gifts that you do have, and for the beautiful soul that you are. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, this was fun, and I can't wait till next Sunday. See everybody next week.
Yes. Have a great week, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.